All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to link a Photoshop file to an Illustrator file. Now, why would we even do this? That's because, as we know, Photoshop is great for images, editing images, hence its photo is in the name. But Illustrator is really where we would do any logos or any complicated text work. So we will be adding the text to our movie posters in Illustrator. So make sure you have your Photoshop open, okay? Then you are going to open up Illustrator. You're going to make a new file and make sure it's the exact same size as our movie poster in Photoshop, which should be 13.5 inches with a height of 20 inches. Go ahead and give it a name if you want, movie poster. And for color mode, make sure we are in CMYK, okay? And that's fine. Click create. Awesome. Okay. So now what we're going to do is if you have saved your Photoshop file the way you should be, which is saving it to the Creative Cloud, then in Illustrator, we can just go File, Place, and we can actually go and find the PSDC, which means Photoshop Cloud document of our background image. We can click it and hit Place. And it takes a second, but then we just click and it pops right in there and we can place it. And since it should be the same size, it should just fit right in the artboard. Okay. So now this is in Illustrator, and if stuff looks a little grainy, don't worry. This is just basically like a placeholder image. But what's great is we can always update this because this is still the Photoshop file. So for example, if I pop over to Photoshop and let's say Anne Hathaway, who is one of my characters in my movie, let's say I don't like her head position. So I go to her head layer and I'm going to hit Control T or Command T to move her. And let's say I want her a little farther over so I can see the eye a little better here. Cool. I'm going to go up here and click OK to place. And then I need to go File and hit Save. And what that does is it updates the document. So see, it's saving. Now I'm going to pop over to Illustrator and give it a second. But what's going to happen is it's going to update because it's going to sense that something new has happened. You guys see that? So it just updated. It just moved her over. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to go to my layers in Illustrator and I'm going to lock my background image so it doesn't move. And I'm going to then go here and go create new layer. And I can call this text, call it whatever I want. But here is where I am going to start making the supporting text for my movie poster, okay? And the reason we link this is you might find that there's some people or parts of your poster background that get in the way of where you want text. So it's kind of nice that you're able to pop over to Photoshop and move it as you need it, all right? So what do we usually have in movie posters? We usually have names of actors and actresses. We maybe have directors. We have maybe kind of the little credits at the bottom, but the most important part is the movie title, okay? Now my movie is called Echoes of Andromeda, all right? So I am going to go ahead and make a text box, and it's very tiny text right now, but I'm going to go ahead and make it not tiny, bigger. Type echoes of Andromeda. Awesome. Now that obviously does not look like a very impressive or appropriate font for this movie. This is a sci-fi movie. So I'm going to grab it. I'm going to click on character and I might look through and see if I can find some fonts I like. Now I already downloaded some fonts that I thought worked good for it. This one I like. So I'm going to find a font I like. And then remember, if we highlight a text up here in character, and we learned this when we did our font exploration, but if you click on character, you can actually adjust how close the leading lines are, which leading is a spacing between the words. You can also adjust the tracking, which is how close the words are. Okay. In paragraph or right next to paragraph here, you can adjust how they're aligned. So I probably want them aligned center. Okay. Now, if that all seems like a lot, you can do it the good old fashioned way, which is to right click, create outlines. And now your text is a shape. All right. Which means you can ungroup it and you can move stuff and do whatever you want. So I can just go crazy. It's basically a shape now. So for me, I might want to make some stuff look kind of like more like alien or space-like. So I'm going to just randomly grab some points on the ends in different shapes, make them weird. And I want you guys to do this because I don't want us to just find a font and call it good. I do think it's important that you mess with the font a little bit to make it the title a little kind of unique to your movie. So I'm kind of just doing some adjustments. This font I found had like a crazy, like I don't know what you want to call this, distressed look on only a few of the letters. Or, you know what? I might have just done something stupid. Hold on. Oh, no. I have to hold down caps to do that. Oopsies. Okay, well, I like the distressed look. So that's another thing. If you download a cool font and you're like, why am I not seeing that specific effect that I liked for the font? Sometimes you need to hold down caps. Okay, I like that better. I like it when they're all distressed. So these guys, grab them and go away. These ones, aha, create outlines. Nice. So now I'm going to ungroup these and I can move and position stuff the way I want. I kind of want Andromeda to be more dramatic because it's the main word, I would say. So you guys are welcome to look at movie examples, but see how I'm not just finding a font and then calling it good. Okay. I'm playing with this. I'm seeing what ways I can make my font kind of different. Awesome. Another thing you guys can mess with, but I would do this sparingly, is different effects. And what I mean by that is if we grab a shape or grab your text, and actually, I think I'm going to go back and unmake this. No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make the echoes of a separate line of text from Andromeda, just so I can have a little more control. Okay. And this way I can still keep them as texts, but still size them separately. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So sometimes if you have two separate lines of text that you want sized differently, make different text boxes. That works great. Okay. Echoes of, I want to see how I can mess with this. I kind of want it to be italicized a little bit. So I am going to go to object. I'm going to go to type and I'm going to go to, what do I want? Oh, we got to click off it. Click on it. Convert to point type. And what that does is it gives me a box that just allows me to kind of warp stuff and do weird things. All right. So with that, it's going to let me do kind of some warping. I'm going to go to transform and I'm going to go to shear. And I'm going to see what this does. Yeah, there we go. So it's allowing me to kind of do a little bit of an italicize to the text. So I'm going to do like a 15% italicize, click OK. There we go. So that looks a little dramatic, right? Echoes of Andromeda. Other things I can do, and what's great is I can still double click and change the text. Like if I decided I don't know, if I wanted something different, I can still go and change it. I also might see about 3D effects or other effects. If we go to effect, there's a ton of stuff you can mess with, right? 3D materials, I would use sparingly because this uses a lot of energy on your computer. But for example, if I go extrude and bevel, and let's see, this might make my computer go kaputzi. It's loading. There you go. So you guys can't see it that well. Let me adjust it so you can see it right, but it's made my text a 3D object now. Now this is super cool when you're trying to make something look like super dramatic, right? So let me try to pivot it so that it's kind of to a normal, oh, I'm actually doing the opposite of that, aren't I? Come on, babies. Yeah, this 3D materials part is super fun, but you got to be careful with it because it does take a little more energy out of your computer because your computer is now trying to figure out what the heck your word looks like as a 3D thingadoo-bob. You can also go up here to materials and you could change it. So I might want something to look like goldish, like have like a gold effect, which is super cool, or like um, metal hammer. Uh, so this is awesome because this is like how we get like cool, like movie, um, trailer font effects. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to do silver because I just feel like silver is appropriate. I'm going to change the X and Y axis to 0 for a second, just so I can like see. I'm trying to put it straight on because I only want a slight bend. Yeah, okay. Okay, okay. Oh, did he give up? Oh no, he didn't give up. He's trying. He's doing his best. Okay. I'm going to do -1x, 0 for the y, and then 1 for the z axis, and we'll just leave it at that so that I can show you guys this. Okay. And for depth, we're going to do 2. Nice. Okay. We're calling that good. All right. So sweet. So I'm going to grab these and I'm going to drag them over to wherever I want them. Now, no, whenever you make something a 3D object, moving it, resizing it just becomes a pain in the butt. So don't be like me. Figure out where you want your text first, then try to do some like cool 3D effects. Um, so I'm going to grab both of my texts. I'm going to go to type, convert to area type for both of them, and that allows me to size them. Uh, well, usually it did, and then of course I screwed it up, so now it's not. Go away. Yeah, you know what we're gonna do? This is a good lesson. Let's say you applied a 3D effect and you're sick of it because you don't like it loading. Click on the 3D, click on the text, and then you're gonna go over here to appearance and it'll show what effects are on that specific thing. And I'm gonna click on the 3D materials and hit the trash can. Okay, now it's gone, it's out of my way, and I can do my thing without the 3D loading annoyingly each time. So I'm gonna click on the Andromeda, I'm gonna go to type, convert to point type. Point type allows me to click a corner and resize it the same way I would like an image. So it doesn't ruin the text in any way. And I'm going to convert this one to a point type as well. Okay. Make Andromeda the same color as my echo. There you go. Okay. So yeah, mess with 3D if you want. I'm going to get rid of it for a second because it's making me angry. It's really important to make sure that your title is important looking and also stands out. So right now, this isn't working because my background fire thingies on my planet are kind of drawing attention away from my movie title. Now I could put it up here, but it just kind of feels crowded with Anne Hathaway in the eyeball. So I am going to see about adding a drop shadow. So I'm going to go to Effect, Stylize, and Drop Shadow adds a shadow behind my text. There you go. We saw that popped in. And here I can adjust it. You can kind of see there's this little shadow that's kind of spreading out. So these are really fun and they are great at helping you kind of get some text to stand out on perhaps a tricky background. So I am going to go okay on that for a second. Awesome. And that properties thing I showed you right here, if you click on that, you can toggle on and off any effects you do. So I can turn off the drop shadow, turn it back on and see what it looks like with and without it. And the drop shadow helps a ton. I like that. Still feel like there's something missing from my title. I feel like it's too short, maybe. Or maybe the Andromeda part's not as dramatic as it should be. So I'm going to play with it. So notice I'm not just typing out text, calling it good. Okay, I'm working with it. I'm trying to see how I can make it better. I might go click on just my Andromeda and go to effects, stylize, and try an inner glow. Because why not, right? Oh, except that looks weird. Let's see. Inner glow on the edge looks weird, and that one looks weird. Okay, so that's a no-no. All right. That's okay. Sometimes things don't look good. Let's see. If I go, I'm going to convert this back to an area type text. And I am going to look at warp. Warp, we haven't done in a while. We did it with the flowers, but warp might be a good thing to mess with. So there is, I'm just click on one of them. And here the warp panel pops up. So we've got all these different ones. We've got arch. We've got kind of the arch upper. We've got all these crazy ones. And I think these actually might help me do what I want, which is to make the Andromeda look just a little more kind of dramatic. And of course, I can mess with these all I want. Mess with the bend. Mess with it making, I kind of like this one where it kind of looks like it's like stretching out on the sides. Inflate. I think it's inflate that I want to mess with. So again, these are just different ways that we can mess with our text. I can, of course, also, if we go up here to this button, once you have the warp panel on, I can go to make with mesh, and I usually tell it just to make one row and one column. And it basically allows you to take then your white arrow and manually kind of mess with the shape of your text. So I might grab my top arrow, or sorry, top anchor point here, hold down shift, grab the other anchor point, click S, which is scale, and click and drag. Yeah, to move it in so that it's like Andromeda is stretching from the from echoes of, and then maybe I drag this down. Ooh, I like that. Yep. That's better. Okay. And then I'm gonna move it up to where I want. I'm gonna call that good for right now. All right. I might mess with it a little bit more. I mean, one thing I noticed that does need to be adjusted is where it is on the I think this needs to be scooted over a little bit so it looks a little more centered. That's good. And I don't know why it's having a hard time letting me grab that guy. He needs to be scooted over a little bit. And I'm going to group both of these so that they kind of behave the same. Group. Okay, there we go. So I can move this title over. I think right there is good. All right. So the next thing I need to do is to add supporting text. So either actors' names or directors' names. And then I would like people to try to add in maybe some details down here. Like if we go to movie posters, movie poster credits. Wow, I can't spell. Credits on bottom. Yeah, these guys. The billing block or whatever they're called. Okay. So I'll attach this I'll attach this for you guys to use, but you can just Google and find these. save it as an image. I'm just going to save it somewhere on my desktop. Oh, I did already download that. Cool. Good for me. And then I would just go here, or you could also do this in your Photoshop file if you wanted. But then you're just going to drag and drop it. Perfect. And you have a few options of what you can do. Depending on what your background looks like, you could just set it to a multiply layer. And that is because if your background's light, it'll get rid of the white and it'll just apply the black on it. But if you're like me and have a dark kind of bottom area, then you're going to want to edit this in Photoshop. So I'm going to click Edit in Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to invert this. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Invert. Perfect. So it makes the white black and the black white. And then I'm going to go File, Save. Okay. Let's go back here and see. Oopsies. Illustrator. Oh, I lied. That didn't do what we wanted. You know, it's a learning day today. It's a learning day. Lies. This is what we're doing. All right. Here, I'm going to unlock this. It's locked right now. I'm going to click Remove Background, but not complete. Image mode. We're going to convert it to a YMK, CMYK, because apparently that's why it wasn't letting me do stuff. I'm going to then click on channels. If you don't see channels next to layers, go to Window, Channels. And I'm going to click the little dotted circle that's in the bottom of the channels panel. That's going to grab all of the white, and I'm just going to hit delete. Okay. Now, if I go back to my layers and hit select up here, select, deselect, all that we're left with is the text. All right. And because I want it to be white, I'm actually going to make an adjustment layer and crank up the brightness. All right. I just want it to be, I can even add a solid color adjustment and make that white. You guys know how to do adjustments. You're pros at it by now. So, and just let me make you a clipping mask, please. Being difficult. Sweet. Okay. And now I'm going to hit File, Save. And I guess I got to save it back to the desktop because I guess I do. Okay. Back here. Okay. We'll delete this now because we made a new one on the desktop. Question is where it is. It's a little bit of, there we go. Ha. All right. Good enough. All right. Little faded, it's a little weird, but you know, it'll work. All right. And it adds to this movie. It like just adds to the look of it. Okay. And that's what we want. We want these to look like real movie posters. You can also add like the little explicit tags or any other tags. But please add, you need to make a title. You need to add actors' names or directors. All right. You need to link from Photoshop so that you can move stuff if you need to, move stuff from your original document. And of course, this should be saved to your Creative Cloud. Save to Creative Cloud. Yes. Awesome. Okay, I know that was a lot, but this is kind of the like final stage of prepping and making our movie poster look extra cool and awesome. So good luck.